Next up, yesterday ESPN released their rankings of the greatest quarterbacks since 1978. Tom Brady was ranked first, followed by Peyton Manning, and Joe Montana was third. The voting panel included current and former NFL coaches, such as Tony Dungy, Mike Holmgren, Mike Shanahan, and Pete Carroll. Shannon, do you agree with Peyton at number 2?
I do. And I would have had no problem if they put him at number 1, because I think what this panel did is that they looked at other things other than Super Bowls. Now what we've seen over the last 5 to 10, 15, 5, I'd say 5 to 10 years, 10 years, is that if a player wins the Super Bowl, all of a sudden he's elite. Oh my God, he's one of the all-time greats. Winning a Super Bowl does not make you all-time great.
It doesn't?
No.
That's not what you told me just recently on the show.
What'd I tell you?
You said Tom Brady's the greatest ever by far.
Skip.
You said it before the Super Bowl, and then you really said it after.
Skip. He's won 5 Super Bowls. He's been to 7. But when you look at his body of work, he's a 2-time league MVP. He's been he's first team All-Pro. He's led the league in passing. He's led the league in touchdowns. Body of work. Okay. You're not going to say Joe Flacco's an all-time great. You're not going to say Trent Dilfer or Brad Johnson are all-time greats. Because even though they have Super Bowls, when you look at their body of work, when I look at Peyton Manning's body of work, he has 5 MVPs. 5. Brady, Montana, and Elway have that same amount. He has 7 first-team All-Pros. The other top 5 selections in this survey have 7. You look at the yardage, you look at the touchdowns. Skip, I mean, what are we talking about here? And he was the guy, most quarterbacks, give me the play and let me run it. Peyton Manning says, give me options, and I'm going to put us in the best situation. And he was always known to go from a bad play to a good play to a great play. He was really the first. Now, we see a lot more of that, calling plays at the line of scrimmage, but no one's done it like Peyton. You look at the 14 Pro Bowls, and I know Pro Bowls sometimes it's a popularity contest, but there were it used to be 42, then it went to 44, now 48, now 50. Men and women, a lot of them that's never played the game of football, that cover the game of football, said 7 times in Peyton Manning's 18 years, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. And then when you look at MVP, he has 5 of those, Skips. MVP is based on accumulation. They look at your total body of work during the season, and they're saying you were the best player from start to finish in the NFL. So with his body of work, you make it seem like he's never been to a Super Bowl. He's been to 4, he's won 2. With that resume, with his body of work, I have no problem whatsoever with Peyton Manning being number 2 on this list.
And I find it laughably insulting that anyone could think that Peyton Manning is better than Joe Montana or even John Elway, and that you would even dare to maybe make the case that you wouldn't have minded if Peyton were number 1 over Brady. And you're saying he revolutionized the game by the first to ever change the play regularly before it was run.
A lot of times there wasn't no play call. He just went to the line and said, check with me. I'll give you the play.
Tom Brady goes in one better, because I don't think Tom checks off as much as Tom just reads it on the fly. He just says, snap it to me, and we got option routes everywhere. I'll just pick the right guy every time, and I will deliver him a catchable pass right on the button. That's better than Peyton to me.
But let me ask you this. How many offensive coordinators has Tom Brady had that's gone on to become head coaches? How many offensive coordinators has Peyton Manning have gone on to become head coaches?
What does it matter? That doesn't make them good
because
or bad.
It's telling you Peyton Manning is the guy that's calling the plays, not the offensive coordinator. Josh McDaniel got a head job. Bill O'Brien got a head job. Charlie Weiss got 2 head jobs.
And among them, they've won how many championships on college or pro level?
But they
None. They were all overrated because they were coaching Tom Brady. They were.
But Skip, think about this. Look at Brett Favre. How many guys coach Brett Favre got head jobs?
A lot of them. That's a pretty good tree there.
Yeah. But
there's some success in that tree.
Offensive coordinators that's coached Peyton Manning, how many of them have got a head job?
Okay, here's my bottom line. My money, as always, goes into the playoff bank. That's all I really care about. And in Peyton's first 9 playoff games, he went 3-6.
Okay.
And in that stretch, the Colts, as a 1 or 2 seed, because remember they kept going 14-2 and 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a 1 or a 2 seed in that stretch, they went 2-4. That's as a 1 or a 2 seed with Peyton Manning at quarterback. That's not very good. So I read all this ESPN.com about how some of the coaches were saying, yeah, Peyton never really had a defense he could bank on. And I'm thinking, wait a second. So in 2005, as a 14-2 number 1 seed, they had the NFL's number 2 scoring defense. That's pretty good to me. I'm not saying it was all-time great, but it was number 2 in the league in points allowed that year. And they lost a home playoff game to your Pittsburgh Steelers, a little before your time probably, but it was 21-18. So Peyton managed to score 18 points at home. In 2007, as a 13-3 number 2 seed in the AFC, which is pretty good, they had the number 1 in the NFL scoring defense. That'll work, won't it? I'm not saying it was the 85 Bears or the Steel Curtain Steelers, but it was the best one that the NFL had to offer that year on points allowed. And they lost a division round home playoff game to San Diego. Remember the Phillip Rivers game when he toughed it out with a torn ACL? And they lost 28-24. So don't tell me he never had a great defense. And then they went on that Super Bowl roll. Remember that? They got going, and Dominic Rhodes was their feature back, and he had some big yards, and they went to Ray Lewis's to
kick 5 field goals.
Yeah, they kicked 5 field goals, and they won, 15-6. And Dominic Rhodes made all the big money yards late in the game. I'm not taking anything away from Peyton because he did play a really great AFC title game against Brady in a shootout, and he won it 38-34. And then he got to beat Rex Grossman in the Super Bowl. It's okay, but I'm not really impressed. And then from that Super Bowl on, over his next 11 playoff games, the great Peyton Manning went 4-7. It's not very good. And he threw the interception that changed the Super Bowl against New Orleans, the Tracy Porter 74-yarder the other way, the pick 6. And then remember the Hale Flacco game against your Broncos in Denver. Peyton threw 2 big interceptions in that game, including 1 in overtime. And then he loses his job in the end to Brock Osweiler, but as a relief pitcher gets thrown back in. And I thought he made some of his best clutch throws in the game against your Steelers again, and then against Tom Brady in Denver, obviously.
Championship game.
But you want to talk about benefiting from a defense? That was the best defense in the NFL.
Well, Skip, the way I look at defense or offense, or I look at any great unit, can you do what you need to do when you absolutely must do it? And yeah, they had the number 1 scoring defense, and they might have had the number 2 and number 5 scoring defense, but when they need a stop, could they get it? The reason why we ranked the 85 Bears, when it came playoff time and they needed to get stops, they got people off the field.
Well, I mean, they just suffocated.
Right. You look at the 2000 Ravens, the 02 Bucks, or you look at the 14, what was it, 13, you look at the 13 Seahawks, or you look at the Broncos, or 15. You're like, okay, these are great defenses because when they needed to get Brady or they needed to get a quarterback on the ground, they could go do it. Peyton had some good defenses. I'm not going to say didn't have. I mean, I don't think, well, sometimes they were pretty close to the bottom in total yardage given up. But Skip, you got to be able to get off the field. Skip, this body of work. And I'm telling you, you say you value my opinion. I've been around a lot of these guys. I know Ray Bob very well. Obviously played with Mike. Yeah, Ray Rose.
Oh, Ray Rose. I thought
we call it Ray Bob.
Okay.
Mike Shanahan, obviously, and a lot of these guys I coached against. And so I'm just trying to give you insight to how they think. Peyton made you cover every inch of the field, and you knew he left no stone unturned. And because Josh McDaniels called the plays, Charlie Weiss called the plays, Peyton Manning is going to the line of scrimmage and says, okay, y'all in single high safety, y'all playing cover 5, y'all playing 6 kicks, y'all clouding it. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Okay. That's why they give him so much credit, Skip, because they realize just how hard his job is.
So are you saying then that they're saying Peyton had a better offensive mind than Tom Brady? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, he did. He does.
I'm not so sure about that because actually the degree of difficulty is higher for Tom Brady because he is mostly accepting the play called, and then he's going to read it on the fly. You want to talk about speed reading? And he's going to throw it to an Edelman or Amendola or Chris Hogan this year down the stretch because he didn't even have Gronk, right? Mm-hmm. So he has no real deep threat, and he has no tight end that's uncoverable. Right. He has Martellus, but he's going to speed read it and find the open guy. And those three that I first mentioned, they're not going to separate very quickly from anybody. And he's going to hit him with the most catchable pass I've ever seen thrown. Sweet passes right on the button, under pressure. Not only under pressure from the defensive front, but under the magnitude of Super Bowl pressure. Because you want to talk about clutchness, there's never been a quarterback more clutch than Tom Brady. So if I'm taking my money to the playoff bank or the Super Bowl bank,
right.
I don't want Peyton's money because it's going to be a little counterfeit, man. It's just not going to work.
But this is why Peyton Manning gets so much credit and he gets so much blame, kind of like LeBron, because they say in the offense that they're running, that was Charlie White. They run in variation, but it's basically Charlie White's offense. This is Peyton's offense. Peyton's the coach. So like LeBron James, he gets majority, the lion's share of the credit when they win, but he also takes the lion's share of the blame when they lose. You see, Skip, what you like to do, you say, oh, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady is great. And then you try to, when Peyton Manning, well, he's bad. Look at Peyton's team. You make it seem like Peyton Manning, his last year, he started in Indy. They were 10-6. They went to the playoffs. The year he didn't start, they got Andrew Luck. Tom Brady misses in 2008, they go 11-5. They go 3-1 without Tom Brady.
Here's the point. All those guys, all those great coaches who were polled here, if you put all of them on a lie detector and said, one game for your life, pick a quarterback, every one of them would take Tom Brady. I promise you they would. And by the way, in total, they still ranked Tom Brady in the whole group ranked him number one.
Right.
Okay? So you don't think they'd all take him? Either way.
No, I mean, because all I know, in 3 of the last 5 championship games that he played against Peyton Manning, he lost.
Okay.
That's fact.
Okay. But the record is so much deeper and better.
It's
like 25-9 versus Peyton. Look at this. Look how many times Peyton came up small. That's more times than LeBron's come up small.
But see, the narrative.
I'm serious.
But see, the narrative that's out there is that Tom Brady has dominated Peyton Manning.
Yeah, it was a fair fight.
But here's the thing. When Peyton Manning got better defenses, like when Tom had in New England, when he had Seymour and McGinnis, and he had Ty Law and Rodney Harrison.
I think those were all-time great defenses.
No, but they were better than what Peyton had. Then all of a sudden, he got Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. All of a sudden, well, Peyton has more talent. But you never made that argument for Tom Brady.
It feels a little prisoner of the moment. I feel like it was a consensus that Joe Montana was the greatest ever until Tom Brady won the championship, and now he's under Peyton. How did that happen?
How did that happen?
When you look at those, Skip, so 5 MVPs don't mean anything?
No, I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything. I feel like Joe Montana
I used to say before
promoted.
Peyton had the last run with your Broncos, which was highly impressive to me, even though he's broken down and kind of a shell of himself.
Correct.
He made some clutch throws.
He did.
But I used to call him the greatest regular season quarterback ever. Period. End of story. Because I couldn't make much of a case for him in the postseason, while Brady, I can make nothing but cases for Brady in the postseason.
I'm not arguing Tom Brady. You can make a case that he's number one, but you look at what that guy did and the longevity, and you look at total body of work, the All-Pros, the MVPs, the Super Bowls, the yardage, the touchdowns. It's hard to say he's not, Skip.
We'll leave it there.